Oh. Hey guys, I hope you're going well. So I'm sort of coming towards the end of skating this girl deck here, and I thought I'd do a little bit of a review on it. I did skate one last year, early January I think it was, from memory, but I thought I pick up another one, seeing I got it on sale from a local skate shop. Can't say no to a sale, and I just wanted to see if girl decks were still as good as the last time I just skated one. My old one was the G052 shape. This one here is the G027 shape. It's a little bit different, mainly in the length. The length's a little bit shorter. Both of those fuller girl shapes. For the full list of the shapes, because Tap actually lists all their dimensions, all their measurements, and the main characteristics of the decks on their website. So I'll leave the website link down in the comments below, or I'm in the description below. But it's really helpful because it tells you if it's a pointier nose or a fuller nose, pointy tail, all those type of things, and it'll give you a bit of a rough estimate of if you'll enjoy the deck sort of thing, because it'll tell you the shape, the dimensions, and it also tells you the team riders on it too. I've been riding the 8.25 as usual for me, but maybe I picked up a deck that's a little bit bigger, so might have to do a little video on that and set up video of setting up a new deck soon, because like I mentioned, this one's going out. But yeah, this 8.25 girl deck had a wheelbase of 14 inches, nice snappy pop like that. The length was 31.79, a little bit shorter. Could be a perfect size. It's good for flip tricks and stuff like that, but we'll get a little bit more into that a little bit later. As I mentioned, both the 52 and the 27 shapes in girl and chocolate, because they both have the same shapes. This one's quite fuller. It's the fuller version of the nose and fuller version of the tail as well. So it's something I personally like. I really do like the fuller nose, but the fuller tail, more rounded tail I feel like, but it still had that taper. So if you're looking for a bit of a taper on your tail, and just feeling comfy and stuff on your board, this one's probably really nice with that. The mellow across the board is pretty medium to mellow as well, so you get a pretty comfortable ride. It won't hurt your feet like some steep concaves can do. If you're taller or just not used to shorter wheelbases, it can getting a bit of used to, especially if you're taller. Your legs are that little bit wider because they're longer and stuff like that. So sometimes shorter wheelbases might not work for taller people. But after you get used to that 14-inch wheelbase, I find my manual point is a lot better on these ones, especially when I changed it over to Thunders, because I did start this deck out on Ventures, which it was working for me. I was getting quite a bit of ghost pop because the Ventures stretch out a little bit further. But back on the Thunders now, because I picked up a new set, the Thunders are working really well when I remember to put in that extra bit of effort I need to require, because I'm a bit of a lazy skater like I've mentioned in the past. And yeah, once you get that timing used to it, it's a nice snappy deck. It's pretty consistent like that once you figure it all out. The kicks on the nose and the tail are probably a solid medium. I wouldn't call them mellow like some people do think they are. There's probably a finger and a half of flat or something like that across the deck. No, there's actually more. It's probably there's a solid 2 fingers of flat, and yeah, it's a medium kick tail. Definitely not as flat as I think it was the Weekend that I rode, or the GX1000. Both of them actually do have flat tails, but one of them was there was pretty much no concave, no steepness to the kick. So it was not like that. I really would call this that true medium kicked. Durability wise, it has been pretty solid. It does flex a bit, especially depends on how you're landing. I did actually crack it on a 50-50 front shove out, which I'll leave the clip right now. But on the landing, you can see a bit of twist there, and you can hear it in the audio. You can actually hear the crack as well. So you can hear this. Listen to this. But I couldn't visually see a crack anywhere through the deck. I know there is one there somewhere, but it didn't crack on the kicks or on the edge, top or bottom ply. So it's probably in there in the middle there somewhere. But in saying that, I don't feel it's affected the deck or anything like that. I've had no chips. I actually did a front shove down a 2-step for the first time. Yay me. But that also it flexed as well when landing, and there was no crack as well. Sometimes it is good to have a little bit of flex in your decks, because if I would say sometimes traditionally a BBS deck is really stiff wood. If you don't land right, instead of flexing that little bit, it will just snap. So I guess you can see that, you can take that as a positive maybe, that it has that little bit of flex. Some people might not like it. It might protrude that soggy feeling at times instead of like that really stiff board, the stiff board. But even those stiff boards from BBS, like some of them, you might notice a deck sog out a bit more because it starts off really, really stiff. And over time, like say 3, 4 weeks, 5 weeks later, it starts getting that flex. So something like Professor Schmidt from PS Sticks, he makes all his decks with a bit of flex. Some people like it, some people don't. So it's just a personal preference. I still find this deck got a really good solid pop. The pop hasn't really changed throughout. So yeah, there's no negatives about the pop there. Even though it does twist and it has cracked, it hasn't really affected the performance, in my opinion anyway. I had some really good little sessions on this, especially a little taco session down at Croydon. I felt really confident on the deck. The deck feels like solid. That it being a bit more rounder and fuller, you just feel like you got more board to play with. So I'm just going to leave, we'll have a little look at that Croydon taco session. So we'll insert that footage now. Overall, the more I skated this deck and the more I actually got used to it, the more I sort of enjoyed it, which generally should happen with most decks, but especially to sort of changed when I put it back on Thunders. For me, Thunders on this deck is just perfect. I reckon Indies make the wheelbase too short, benches a little bit further out. I don't know, it just seems like that little perfect point for Thunders on this deck. If you're over 6 foot tall, the 14-inch wheelbase, if you're not used to it, you could struggle with it a little bit. You might feel a little bit cramped in on the board, like you don't have that much space. It also being that shorter length of 31.79, you might feel like you don't have enough deck there. So you might want to stick to something like that's at 14.25 and more towards that traditional 32-inch length of a deck. A lot of people heard that Girl and Chocolate went through a phase over 2 years ago about being bad quality decks and stuff like that. But this is the second Girl deck that I've skated in 2 years, and personally I haven't had any issues with them, except for the bit of flex in this one, but like I mentioned, hasn't affected the performance. And if you actually find one on sale in your local skate shop or even online if you can't get access to one, I'd highly recommend getting it because, like I mentioned, I got this one for a really good value. I paid $79 AUD instead there. I think they're normally about $139 in Australia, so good. But I'm always a bargain hunter. I love buying get stuff on sale at the moment. Anytime, even when it's on sale, I tend to buy decks just to stock up. So it's just something I like to do. But if you do see one of these, even Chocolate, I'm personally at the Skate Chocolate, but I can pretty confidently say it'll be the same just because it's the same wood shop, same shapes, same measurements like that. So if you see a Girl or a Chocolate and you like the graphics, grab it. And on that note, if you like the video, make sure to hit on that like button, subscribe if you're not already, leave a comment below if you've skated a Girl or a Chocolate, or if you're looking forward to it. And like I said, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you guys in a new video soon. Peace. That's the best one right here.